yeah, we're going to win another Super Bowl for LA this year. You know how I know? It's because my salt lamp told me.
Welcome to the Jungle, Bengals fans. I'm Kyle Phelps, and I'm not sure that I'm going to make it to Sunday. Fans of most NFL teams probably don't understand, but this is such a surreal experience for me. Like, my whole life, I've been watching other teams play in the Super Bowl. At best, the Bengals have been eliminated like 4 weeks before the game. Now, the Bengals get to play with the big boys, and suddenly the big boys don't actually look so big. It almost doesn't feel like the Super Bowl because it just feels like another game on the Bengals schedule. Before we get into the Super Bowl 56 preview, I'd just like to ask that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. It really helps my channel out, and it helps you to be the first to know when we put out game previews before every single Bengals game, including the Super Bowl preview, which is a Bengals game. Can you believe it? Obviously, this is going to be the last one of the season, but they will be coming back in August. You're also not going to want to miss the last recap of the season on Monday, and those will be coming back in August too. Over the off-season, we're going to be doing Bengals and NFL topics that I find interesting once or twice a week, and hopefully you guys like those. And as always, we do Battle of Ohio podcast clips twice a week. Those will be continuing throughout the off-season. So, make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss any of it. Holy crap, this is really happening, guys. The Cincinnati Bengals arrived in Los Angeles on Wednesday and are preparing to compete in Super Bowl 56 against the Los Angeles Rams as we speak. It's kind of nuts that the Bengals are technically considered the home team because the Super Bowl is supposed to be played on neutral ground, so the AFC and NFC teams, they rotate who's the ceremonial home team every year, despite the fact that this game actually is taking place in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium, which is, as you know, the Rams' home territory. That said, the Super Bowl crowd itself consists of 35% dead even split between each team's executives, coaches, players, and employees to disperse the tickets how they see fit. Then you get roughly another 30% of tickets that are divided up among the other 30 NFL teams so that they can attend the game. The remaining tickets are sold by the NFL initially to sponsors and connected organizations. It's a very corporate event, really. And once all those tickets have been dispersed that way, average fans can get tickets by spending ungodly amounts of money on the tickets that actually do make it to the resale market. So the point is, the home field advantage isn't really a real thing in the Super Bowl, even if your team happens to be hosting it. The crowd at the Super Bowl is almost always going to be a relatively disconnected one. There is no home field advantage during the game. At best, the Rams players are going to be getting the comforts of home by staying in their home city before the game, getting a home-cooked meal, stuff like that, but that's about it. It's definitely nice to have that advantage, but I can't really say that that's going to make a huge difference to the final results. Another reason that it's probably not going to make a huge difference in this game is because the Bengals have been absolutely stellar on the road in the 2021-22 season. During the regular season, they finished with a winning 5-3 record on the road, but that could have easily been a 6-2 record if they had actually played their starters against the Browns in Week 18 in a game where the Browns played their starters, despite the fact that, it was basically a completely meaningless game. In addition to that, the Bengals mostly had to win on the road in the playoffs to even get to the Super Bowl in the first place. So, that 5-3 record becomes 7-3 when you take into consideration the playoff games that they played. And then hypothetically, that 6-2 record becomes an 8-2 record when you really kind of take everything into account. And that's definitely not bad at all. I will tell you one thing though. This is definitely going to be one of the most intense matchups that the Bengals have played all year. Both teams have a plethora of reasons why they could win and why they could lose. The Bengals' offensive weapons should be able to overwhelm the Rams' secondary, even if Jalen Ramsey shuts down Jamar Chase for most of the game. But they still got to cover T. Higgins. They still got to cover Tyler Boyd. They might still have to cover C.J. Uzomah if he plays, which he probably will play. We just don't know what capacity. But something tells me Davis Long, Dante Dion, and Grant Haley might have some issues covering the rest of the Bengals receivers. The biggest problem for the Bengals offense from a matchup perspective, though, is going to be Aaron Donald against our questionable interior offensive line. Luckily, you have Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow can hopefully make up for all the pressure that Aaron Donald's going to cause by, running around, getting out, just kind of like he did against Chris Jones in the AFC Championship against the Kansas City Chiefs. So the hope is that Joe Burrow essentially makes that, he takes that and he's like, oh guys, this is my matchup. I'm going to make sure that I can do everything I can to basically add a third person to probably, a double team that they're going to have against Aaron Donald for every single game. So it's kind of like a 2.5-man team. You've got you're probably going to have Hakeem Adeniji or Jackson Carman and Isaiah Prince doing kind of like a double team, or maybe Trey Hopkins, depending on, where Aaron Donald's lined up. You're going to have them, double teaming Aaron Donald physically, and then you got Joe Burrow's eyeballs on Aaron Donald and, being like, okay, well, he's going to get in the backfield probably, so once he does, I'm going to run around and I'm going to make stuff happen. And man, to have a few big, massive Joe Burrow plays like that in the Super Bowl, it would be glorious. On the other side of the ball, I am absolutely fascinated by the Matt Stafford versus the Bengals defense matchup. Trey Hendrickson has a history of success against Andrew Whitworth, and as much as I love Big Whit, he's been kind of showing his age this year in the playoffs. He didn't exactly have an inspiring performance against the Arizona Cardinals. He didn't even play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he gave up 4 pressures and a sack in the NFC Championship against the San Francisco 49ers. Then there's the fact that Matt Stafford led the league in interceptions with 17 in the regular season. He looked like he was turning the corner in the playoffs until they got to the NFC Championship game, where he threw 1 interception in the game, and then he threw another pass late in the game that should have been intercepted by Jaquiski Tartt. All I'm saying about that is that Matt Stafford has the tendency to turn over the ball in key situations, and it could be a real advantage for the ball-hawking Bengals defense that has ended every single playoff game with a clutch interception this year. Jermaine Pratt against Derek Carr, Logan Wilson against Ryan Tannehill, Von Bell against Patrick Mahomes to win the AFC Championship, or at least set the Bengals up to win the AFC Championship. It just seems like the perfect trend to watch for this particular matchup. But that's enough from me, guys. Let's bring in our newest correspondent of the season. His name is Ryan, and he runs Ryan's Rarefied Rams Radcast, sponsored by Fish Taco VPN. Say what's up, Ryan.
Hey, Bengals fans, what's up? Thanks for having me on your podcast. Really excited to watch the Rams in another Super Bowl. And you guys are pretty cool. I like that. You're finally in the Super Bowl again, too.
Yeah, I gotta say, no matter who wins this game, America already won for having such a unique and interesting Super Bowl to watch. No more Brady, Mahomes, Rodgers, or, obviously Peyton Manning to make this one feel like just another rerun of the Super Bowl. So, since it's your first time, why don't you give the audience a little bit of background on how you came to become a Rams fan?
Yeah, well, the Rams have always been LA's team, in my opinion. I think we left in 1994 because we needed a new stadium and supposedly lost all their money and stuff. But the fact that they won their first Super Bowl while in St. Louis is quite annoying. But yeah, we're going to win another Super Bowl for LA this year. You know how I know? It's because my salt lamp told me. It's a holistic salt lamp, and it predicts the future. And if you yeah, it says the Rams are going to win on Sunday, and we're going to win our first Super Bowl in LA. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Well, I don't know much about that, but I personally hope that Salt Rock doesn't know much about football. I will say, though, out of the 2 teams, the Rams were supposed to be the ones who were here. They were essentially constructed with this idea of making this specific Super Bowl run. They made a ton of aggressive moves over the last couple of years, like, trading away 3 first-round picks to bring in guys like Matt Stafford and Jalen Ramsey, as well as first-round picks that they traded for other guys like Jared Goff and Brandon Cooks, who aren't even on the team anymore. So, what kind of impact would you say that's made?
Well, the Rams' aggressiveness in building this roster this year has been quite a story to tell. We have had to overcome so much adversity in the past few playoff losses. I don't think you could really understand how much these Rams have really had to fight back from those playoff losses from just a couple years ago. Just the adversity is incredible. And back since in 2017, we had that first-round pick to get Jared Goff. That was nice. But we traded him to get Matt Stafford. I think that worked out well. And all this adversity has been overcome in such a great way that I've actually written a screenplay about it. It's entitled It's entitled I don't have a title for it, but I'm calling it The Fog of Love. It's a football story, and if you'd like, I can read the first I don't know, 20, 30 minutes of it for you, just so you can get a sense of it. It's a football story, and I think you guys are really going to like it. So should I just get started now, or... Okay, so the setting...
Okay, we're going to stop you there, I think. So could you elaborate a little bit more on the difference between Jared Goff and Matt Stafford? Like, how much of an upgrade have they made at that position with that blockbuster trade almost 1 year ago?
Well, talent for one. No, but seriously. Matt Stafford does throw his fair share of poorly timed interceptions. But other than that, how can you hate a guy who brings a talent to the Super Bowl? Brings the Rams' talent to the Super Bowl, that is, for the first time in a while, and with a really good chance to win. Jared Goff is doing as well as we thought he would in Detroit, so I'd say the trade was worthwhile.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption to make. So, what do you think the Rams' biggest key to the game for coming away with a win this week is?
I have to say, we are licking our chops at Aaron Donald getting into that offensive line of yours that is just a wet paper bag. We're going to watch Von Miller and Aaron Donald just destroy it. Joe Burrow's going to get sacked like 12 times. I wrote a screenplay about that too. It's this one. Yeah, it's this one. I wrote the screenplay about Joe Burrow getting sacked 12 times. It's actually a sequel to the other screenplay I wrote. This one doesn't have a title, but it's probably going to be Fog of Love 2, Football Boogaloo. And also, I need to write one about the Jalen Ramsey-Jamar Chase matchup, because that is a great matchup. Jamar Chase and Jalen Ramsey's going to be great to watch this whole time too. I should really ask my gluten-free yoga instructor what he thinks about that matchup, because he's a big football fan too.
I bet he is, Ryan. So what about the Bengals then? What do you think that they need to do to overcome the Rams and win?
Well, I think having Joe Burrow not be eating grass the whole game would be a really good start for the Bengals to not lose the game. I don't think that the Bengals' offensive line is going to hold up. I don't think the wide receivers are better than ours. I don't think the linebackers are better. I don't think your corners are better. I think your quarterback is cool. Really cool. I wish he was as cool as our quarterback, but nope. I don't think the Bengals really can win. But if they do, they're going to have to overcome the issues on the offensive line. And, Xavier, my salt lamp here, what is that? He's going to get sacked 9 times? Yeah. So it's not happening, Bengals fans. Sorry, you're going to lose the Super Bowl again.
Well, I have to say I am absolutely devastated to not have Xavier the Salt Rock's vote of confidence in this game. So why don't you give me your personal final score prediction for this game, Ryan? No Salt Rock this time.
I'd have to say 34-13 Rams. I just don't think the Bengals are going to score. I think our defense is too good, and of course Xavier, my salt lamp, already told me that they were going to win. So, sorry, Bengals fans, you're going to go 0-3 in the Super Bowl. Sorry about your luck, guys.
Yeah, whatever, man. We'll see who's got the bad luck on Sunday. Speaking of which, you live out there in LA. Are you lucky enough to be able to afford those absolutely insane ticket prices?
Well, it is kind of a home game, even though it's the Super Bowl, and they're super expensive. But luckily, I bought into this thing called Charge Coin that some guy sold me at the last Chargers game I went to, and luckily the stock went up on it, and I sold it all, and now I have enough money to go to the game. So yep, I'm going to the Super Bowl. It's my first Super Bowl I'm going to, and I can't wait to watch the Bengals lose in the Super Bowl. So thanks for having me, Kyle. I appreciate it.
For sure, Ryan, anytime. You and your Salt Rock are always welcome back here on Welcome to the Jungle whenever the Bengals play the Rams. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll feature the best ones, well, at some point. I suppose, seeing as this is the last episode of the preview shows that we're going to do this season, so I'll find a time to feature these comments in some video in the future. Like this one from Arthur Swanner, who said, Chiefs players know we're for real. Tough one, but we'll prevail in the end, 38-35. Press don't think we should even bother showing up. And it wasn't quite that high scoring, Arthur, But I think you hit the nail on the head. Nobody believed that the Bengals could do the same thing to the Chiefs that they did the last time because everyone considered that game a fluke or a false win, or this one's in Arrowhead Stadium, so it's going to make, a big difference for the Chiefs. But that's why you never count this Bengals team out. But anyway, y'all can always catch more of what I do at KylePhelps92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/LaPhelps, my Bengals coverage at ATBNetwork.com/Cincinnati Bengals, the Battle of Ohio podcast, which is available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and right here if you subscribe. Let's go win us a Super Bowl, baby! I'll leave y'all, as always, with a hootie!